Welcome back, guys, to another beer review. Well, after the last one that I've just done from Loch Lomond, that was from Lidl's, very disappointing for me, to be honest. And funny enough, I have just messaged someone, a friend, of mentioning it, and it'll be quite interesting, really, because I'm going to do another beer, and I totally get what they've said, and I've said the same thing in the past about the prices of these beers reflect what the beer is, which for me doesn't always work if we look at a lot of supermarket beers. But I get where they're coming from. But what I would say is we get some of these craft beers in the supermarkets at sort of like 180, and then you can get some that sort of like double the price, maybe triple the price, or 2.5 times the price, that are really outstanding. And it actually got me thinking that, you know, people complain about paying £1 for a Carling. You know, you might pay £3.99, £4 for a 4-pack of Carling, whereas if you paid £8 for a decent 4-pack of lager, or a couple of quid for a decent can of lager, that's where your extra money's gone. So it makes you think about this, really, what you're getting from these little supermarkets like Lidl's and that it's right saying they're okay for the money, but they're not getting, when they're not really up to scratch. We seem to be okay for knocking British lagers for not being up to scratch for £1, and slating them against a lager that's double the price. But we seem to be a little bit protective, maybe, of some of these craft beers coming in the supermarkets at half the price of a really decent one. But don't get me wrong, I understand all the price range in that, and it's an introductory sign. I've been on the same sort of side. So anyway, I'm chatting shit now, but my point is, the next beer coming up that I'm going to review was part of a 4 for £6, and this was from Tesco's, and I picked it up the other day, and it's a bottle of Lagunitas IPA India Pale Ale, coming in at 6.2% in a 355ml bottle. Now 4 for £6. So my view on this is, this is where I come from on some of these things. £1.50 this was coming at, 4 for £6, and probably only £1.80, which would match the price of the last beer I had. Yeah. So if I say this is 10 times better than the last beer, this is where I question some of the other stuff. And I don't want anyone to think I'm being an arsehole. And the person I was having a chat to, I'm not being an arsehole, and he'll know that. It's just me giving my view. So, yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what this is like. I know this is going to be good. I've had it before and I do like it. So there's the label. They're out of California, by the way. Lagunitas Brewing Company, California. One of the, I think probably one of the earliest starting breweries, I think, or like the craft scene. I think they've been around for a while anyway. So there you go. Nice label. I like that. Just plain and simple. Love that bottle cap with the old dog on there. I think that's fantastic. So without further ado, let's get it out and start upsetting more people, no doubt. So do love that bottle cap. That's awesome. Let's get it into a glass. See what we get. Wow. It smells a bit skunky, that, I'm totally honest. Yeah, it smells a bit skunky, that. There's a date on it. Date's alright, isn't it? I don't know. Maybe it's just the initial smell. So, anyway, let's get past that bit. Bloody light. I hate this light. I need to get some more light in here, anyway. So there we go, in a glass, amber in colour, good levels of carbonation rising up the glass. We've got a good finger and a half of reasonably compact white head on top. I'm now going to try and get the old Alsatian nose in there and see what we can get on the nose. Now this is interesting. I am getting this is really weird. I'm getting a real nettle sort of smell on this. Real nettle smell, which is real odd. A little bit hoppy, but I'll be honest with you, I've had a couple of pints of this as it happens tonight on draft. Fantastic. And what I was getting there was totally different to this. Yeah, I'm getting a real nettle smell. A little bit hoppy, but almost nettle minty smell. I don't know. I did rinse the glass out. I used this on my last one, but anyway, I'll tell you what, I'll dive in, see what we get. So, cheers everyone. Oh, that's nice. A lot nicer. The first thing I've noticed, like I said, I had a couple of pints of this before. The pints I had, real hoppy, real grapefruit. Really, and a good bitterness to it. Nice body to the beer. I'm enjoying this actually, really enjoying this. Even though it's a little bit different. Nice body to the beer, not heavily carbonated. I'm getting a good hoppiness to it. Grapefruit bitterness. But I'll tell you what I am getting out of this, that I wasn't getting out of the pints that I've had, is a sweet, for me I'm picking up a sweet biscuity sort of maltiness to it. Biscuity sort of sweet maltiness to it, which I wasn't getting it all out of the draft one. So, excuse me. Certainly seems a bit sweeter than what I've just had out of the draft. Not quite as bitter, has got that bitterness on it. And it has got that grapefruit on it, but it doesn't seem as bitter or as grapefruity. But, oh, excuse me. But a really nice IPA that is. It's going to be a little bit hard to judge now, because I've got to admit the one I've just had on draft was a lot nicer, I think. This has a little less flavour, not loads, but just a little less flavour on the grapefruit, a little less bitterness, and a little bit more sweetness to it. But still a very nice IPA. And this is where I go back to my point that 4 for £6, granted it's on offer, compared to that last beer that I had that was 5%, 440ml, £1.80 can. Now granted I bought four drinks, but I've got this £1.50. A little bit less in it, but stronger. And for me, I could drink this all the time. This could quite easily be a go-to IPA for me. Whereas that last thing I had was very wishy-washy and very poor. No IPA to it all, not even a decent wheat beer. So I suppose it depends on where you stand on it. I suppose you can look at it from all different angles, but you know, I'm looking at it from a different angle again, that we seem to protect some of these cheaper beers because they're cheap, which is a bit out of order really, because sometimes they are very poor even for what you've paid for them. And for me, this is a prime example that shows up that last beer that I done. So it's getting to near 10 minutes now, so I'll apologise for all the moaning or waffling and this, that and the other and blah blah blah. If you're thinking of getting this, give it a try. I think it's a decent IPA. Personally better out of draft than what I had, but maybe that's just me. If you've had it before, let me know what you think. Like I said, part of a 4 for 6. I think that's a nice IPA, perfectly respectable, very drinkable. Do you get the 6.2%? I never went over that. No, you certainly don't get the 6.2%. Extremely drinkable. almost sessionable. Well, definitely sessionable in drinking, not so sessionable in the percentage. So apologies for going on too long. Thanks, like, share, subscribe. I'm on Instagram under All the Beer No Idea. I'm on Facebook under All the Beer No Idea. So thanks very much for watching. Certain someone out there, don't be offended if you watch this. Just my views on the beer. And thanks for watching, everyone. So see you again soon. Cheers.